Hey everyone, and welcome to today's video. So today I want to answer one of the most common questions that I get asked on Instagram, and that's what was the first pedal that I ever bought. And the answer's in the title of this video. It's the Boss Turbo Distortion, the DS2. And I think this was probably a first pedal for quite a lot of players. And what I thought might make quite a cool video was, I'm not going to do a full run through or a demo because this pedal's been out for years at this point and there's already loads of demos. I think most people know what it does, and if not, as I mentioned, there are already a lot of demos out there. What I thought would be cool would be to kind of have a look at how I used to use the pedal when I didn't know much about pedals, and now how I would set the pedal after having used them for almost a decade. So I've got the DS2 running straight into the Victory Duchess head, the V40, and then that's going into the Capture X for cab tones. So with the pedal bypassed, and this is our clean tone. And now if I kick the pedal on, we can hear that it's not quite matching unity gain with everything on 12, so I'm going to bump the level up a little bit. And we can see from the close-up camera that this pedal has had an awful lot of use. It's missing the latch down here to hold the pedal in place, along with the dial that selects the distortion mode. And this was on my board for, I would guess, 4, maybe 5 years. So it's seen an awful lot of use. And I never had any issues with the actual internal workings, but obviously now it's been retired to more of a studio tool, I guess. And the way I used to set this when I was younger, I would have the tone low and distortion high, which doesn't sound that great, to be honest. The reason I used to do this, I think, was when I first started gigging when I was 15 or 16 or whenever it was I got this pedal, I wasn't particularly comfortable on stage, wasn't very confident. And setting a tone this way, whether it's a pedal or an amp, just setting things darker in general, covers up a lot of nuance in your playing, which is generally where mistakes tend to lie. So it was a little bit of a safety net, but as I mentioned, it doesn't sound that great. So I'm going to push the tone up. I mean, to be honest, I think we could actually push it up a little bit higher. I tend to like top end to the point where it feels like it's biting. Something more like that, I think, is how I would tend to set things now. So we'll try backing the distortion down a little bit. I tend to prefer this pedal pushed. It feels like to me like it was designed to be played with fairly high gain levels, so I'm going to keep that quite high. I guess that's maybe why they called it Turbo Distortion. I should also point out I'm going to play a lot of similar kind of ideas. I tend to do that when I'm demoing a pedal or an amp or something, because particularly for comparing tones, I won't want to play something in one key, change dial, and then play something in another key and kind of perceive more or less low end from playing in a lower key. So that's the reason for all the E-licks today, basically. So this is 3/4 turn, 3/4 just. And it sounds okay at this point. This is where I would maybe reconsider the amp settings. So if anyone's seen a video that Pete Thorne filmed on, it was a few years ago, I think it was called something like How to and How Not to Use Drives or Distortions. And he basically described when you use a high gain pedal in front of a completely clean amp, you kind of get this dual sound going on, which we can kind of hear at the moment. There's like a clean layer and a distorted layer that are melding together, but not in a particularly nice way. So what we want to do here is kind of drive the amp a bit harder. So I'm going to turn the pedal off and just remind us of the clean tone. I'm going to push the preamp gain on the Victory. Back the master down to make sure that's not clipping. Yeah, we're good. Okay, I'll kick the pedal back on. You can hear it's taken on a much more kind of aggressive character at this point. It's behaving a little bit more like a fuzz now, and this is essentially kind of gain staging and gain stacking, so that's why it's doing that basically. I want to try now, I'm going to flick over to the Turbo Distortion mode. Or are we already on that mode? No, there we go. It's just quite difficult to do without the dial. And we can hear there, just in the change in the kind of hiss, that it's a lot more focused. I'll turn it off for a second while I'm talking. It's a lot more focused. To me, I think it's adding mids, giving us a bit more of an aggressive kind of distortion. And this is, I think I prefer this mode for lead work at least. I'm going to try pushing the distortion all the way up now, to see what that sounds like. So the reason I bought this pedal when I was younger was I was a big Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, and I read that John Frusciante was documented as using these. And to me, where this felt like it captured his tone the best was if you were to use it quite high up on the neck on a single coil, so on a Strat like he played, on a similar kind of setting to this where it's kind of really pushed and aggressive. So I always felt that was a fairly good approximation of his tone. Obviously he has used hundreds of pedals I think at once and kind of stacked them on top of each other. But if you're looking for one pedal that kind of dials in the Frusciante lead tone, I would say this is a pretty good kind of go-to. So that was my first ever pedal, that was the Boss DS2, and if people enjoyed this kind of video I can do more of a similar kind of nature. There's some more old pedals that I used to use lying around, or old guitars, that kind of thing. But let me know in the comment section what your first pedal was, because I think it's always an interesting talking point between players to kind of explore early gear, either successes or nightmares. If you did enjoy the video, please do click like and subscribe. As always, thank you for watching, take care, and I will see you in the next video.